Welcome to my borrowed falconry. You will with my borrowed falconry.
What's up, guys? Benny. Remember the consistently red state of Arizona flipping for Joe Biden miraculously in 2020 by just 10,000 votes? And this shocked everyone. They called it as quickly as they possibly could, and then they put you in jail if you asked any questions about it. It seemed very shady. Arizona had electronic voting machines, and then when you ran a cleaner election, Donald Trump won by hundreds of thousands of votes in 2024, just a few short years later. That's strange. What exactly happened there? That don't make no sense. Maybe we should be asking about the machines that tabulate these votes. And the Trump administration has been asking about those machines. In fact, Tulsi Gabbard straight up said, we're looking into these machines swapping, switching, and meddling in our vote totals, and we found the evidence of it. Get a load of this.
Best going after this, election integrity being one of them. We have evidence of how these electronic voting systems have been vulnerable to hackers for a very long time and vulnerable to exploitation to manipulate the results of the votes being cast, which further drives forward your mandate to bring about paper ballots across the country so that voters can have faith in the integrity of our elections.
The electronic voting machines that are used in Arizona and are created with software in Venezuela aren't accurate and can affect the results of elections. Well, President Trump has been on a rampage explaining that now that Nicolas Maduro is in captivity in America here, they black bagged him, that we now have all the evidence we need about the massive voter fraud that stole the election. And President Trump said this at the White House multiple times yesterday. This reporter asked this question
in New York to get some answers on Venezuela's involvement with the 2020 election.
No, I don't think I would be doing that. I think my lawyers would be very unhappy if I did that. Yeah, they've learned some things. Please.
Trump says, I'm not allowed to speak with Nicolas Maduro when he's in jail in New York, but we've learned quite a few things. Now, what are some of the things that they've learned? Alex Jones, his initial response and reaction to this was, well, we're going to learn everything from Nicolas Maduro because the entire axis of evil in our country and around the world ran through Venezuela.
Are they going to now have Maduro expose Pelosi and the Democrats and the Clintons and the Bushes for the drug dealing they've been involved in? I wouldn't hold your breath with the prosecutors, but definitely Trump is ending the U.S. sanctioning and laundering the money and supporting it and the election fraud. Because it's not Venezuela and China running it. It's the CIA deep state through China, through Venezuela and Cuba doing it. So Cuba's in deep trouble. Mexico and Scheinbaum, its operations in trouble. Their mothership, Venezuela, that had all this incredible budget and all this incredible money, not for its people, but for control, that's gone.
Is it going to happen? Because President Trump just went to the Davos global elites and decided to once again announce that, yes, the elections are rigged and that we have all of the evidence we need to prosecute people. This is even more than what he said yesterday at the White House when President Trump went scorched earth as well against election fraud, saying that they've found everyone who did it. Trump says prosecutions soon. It was a rigged election. Of course, he said this at Davos in front of some of the people that probably rigged the election, or at the very least paid for it, right? George Soros's heir was in the room, as is Gavin Newsom, the likely candidate in 2028. So here's Trump.
Think of it, a giant ocean. It's a war that should have never started, and it wouldn't have started if the 2020 U.S. presidential election weren't rigged. It was a rigged election. Everybody now knows that. They found out. People will soon be prosecuted for what they did. It's probably breaking news, but it should be. It was a rigged election. Can't have rigged elections. You need strong borders, strong elections, and ideally a good press. I always say it. Strong borders, strong elections, free, fair elections, and a fair media. The media is terrible. It's very crooked. It's very biased, terrible. But someday it'll straighten out because it's losing all credibility. Think of it, when I went in a landslide, a giant landslide, won all 7 swing states, won the popular vote, won everything, and they only get negative press. That means that it has no credibility. And if they're going to get credibility, they're going to have to be fair. So you need a fair press. But you also need those other elements. And I inherited a terrible, terrible situation. If you look, the border was open, the inflation was raging, everything was bad with the United States.
It was a rigged election, prosecutions soon for what they did. President Trump, making news at Davos, announces prosecutions coming soon for the stolen 2020 election. Goodness gracious. People will soon be prosecuted. It was a rigged election, he says. Goodness gracious. Prosecutions. And he will acquire Greenland. Maybe we can put a new political prison in Greenland, right? Like maybe that could be the new Guantanamo Bay for people who engaged in traitorous acts against our nation, right? President Trump, it was a rigged election. Everyone knows that. We caught them. We caught them. This is Trump yesterday saying the same thing. Again, so cocksure. Trump was always talking about rigged elections, but he was never saying we caught them. We have all the evidence. There's going to be prosecution soon. Only after the Maduro black bag incident did Trump speak like this.
It's a rigged election. Everybody knows that now. And by the way, numbers are coming out that show it even more plainly. We caught him. We caught him. We have the worst president in the history of our country. A man that didn't win the election, by the way, it's a rigged election. Everybody knows that now. And by the way, numbers are coming out that show it even more plainly. We caught him. We caught him.
Such certitude, obviously, something that Donald Trump doesn't lack. But after all of the evidence that we've displayed on this channel, after every election fraud story that we've had, does it all come to this? That Maduro was sort of the hub of election theft. Well, many independent journalists have noted this, and many phone calls that we've had with various people involved, this Emerald Robinson thread is a good one, say that yes, in fact, Nicolas Maduro is one of those guys that just knows exactly how this software operated, and that part of the reason why Trump keeps posting videos on Truth Social about Venezuelan software companies stealing elections is because now he's got his star witness. And that Maduro's wife was taken also by the special forces. Why would you do that? Unless you're going to use that for leverage. And that's why Trump can go and walk in front of the world and say exactly this. Prosecution's coming over 2020 election. That's why Trump can say it right here, live on Fox News, live at the World Economic Forum in Switzerland, live in front of the world. Because he's got the guy. Well, what do you think? Let me know in the comment section. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe. See you.